It's time for a special episode of The ReadyWriter. Let's get started. You're watching The ReadyWriter, a show where I get to speak to writers of all different genres, mediums, and experiences. The ReadyWriter. Are you ready? Hello and welcome to a Saturday edition of The ReadyWriter. I am your host, Casey Bell, and today's guest is author Skip Bailey, who has written a few books. His latest book is Skip Bailey From the Fields to the Stage, which is a memoir/biography. Let's take a listen at our interview we had together. Thank you so much for joining me on The ReadyWriter. My first question I have for you is, was being a writer or an author something you aspired to when you were a child?
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, didn't even have the idea of writing a book probably until maybe 2011. Yeah. As a child, my aspirations and goal was to be an entertainer.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's get right into your book. Tell us a little bit about He Can't Make You Happy. What is that book about?
Okay, that was my second book. And that was the original title. Of course, I changed the title. The title that I changed it to is How to Find Happiness in Your Relationship. So the book is pretty much about, making yourself happy, finding your own happiness. The reason why I changed the title, when I was doing book displays and doing, book signings, I was always getting mixed comments, mixed, emotions from different people, especially if couples come to my table. Of course, the female, the wife, girlfriend, see the title, her eyes light up. I want to read this book. Of course, the husband, the guy, he's a standoffish. But the book had nothing to do with He Can't Make You Happy. But realistically, no one can make another person happy, actually. So I said, so let me just change the cover, change the title. The content is still the same. I use the analogy as I changed the bread, but the meat inside is still the same.
Right.
So, like I said, I changed it to How to Find Happiness in Your Relationship. And it all boils down to finding your own happiness first in order to allowing anyone else or someone even to attempt to bring their happiness to help fulfill yourself also.
I find it kind of weird that today we still have people trying to find relationships to be happy, because my question is, well, all the days when you're not in a relationship, who's making you happy if you don't have someone? And I think it's sad that we think we have to wait till we get married to be happy.
You know what? That's ironically that you say that, because actually, even when I do when I've done book signings, and a couple of even older couples who would come to my table, they would kind of debate me with that. He makes me happy. We've been married for 50 years, and I let him go on. We talk. But then my thoughts myself was, okay, so if he actually to die tonight, you're not gonna be happy the rest of your life. Like you just said, people don't think that. So, but realistically, that is it. You have to have your own happiness. They can help, bring that fulfillment in your life. But as far as the total happiness, that's all up to you. That's all up to the person that's in the mirror you see every morning.
Right. So what inspired you to write this book and this topic, this touchy topic?
Actually, this book was written in 2017. So that's my second book, my third book, which we'll talk about that in a minute. I was on the phone with my brother a couple of years ago, back in 2017. He was in Hawaii. It was actually my birthday. And I'm very transparent. I was having little issues with my relationship. Not problems, but issues. Everyone has issues. Whether it's people who have been married for 30, 40, 50 years, there's some issues somewhere. Had some issues. And I was telling my brother I didn't want anyone to buy me anything for my birthday because everything I already had. So, and I am a firm believer, I do believe in God. So when I was telling my brother that I don't want anyone to buy me anything for my birthday, just like that, God popped that title right in my head. He Can't Make You Happy. That's how it all came about. because of the issues that I was having.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give us one tip for the person who thinks you need someone to be happy that they can start doing in their own life to find their own happiness?
Well, one of the main chapters in the books, in my book, which I label them courses because I'm a coach, life coach. So we do our courses and classes. So one of the courses in it is he can't give you what he don't have. If he doesn't have happiness in his life, and that's where a lot of, when I do counseling, when I talk to people one-on-one or couples in reference to the happiness there, and one of the reasons why a lot of people have issues in their relationships is because they're expecting another person to give them something that this other person doesn't have. So if you're married, if she's married to Bobby, who's never had a father in his life, and his mom had issues with her own issues, so Bobby grew up with issues. So Brenda, the wife, wants Bobby to give her all the loving, nourishing, and stuff that she's always wanted. He can't give it to her because he's never had it. He just never experienced it. You know, so if a person, I'm big on analogies, want me to make them a sandwich or cook them a nice meal, and I don't know how to cook at all, I can't give you what I don't have. So that's one of the main issues that people have in relationships. If they're trying to ask a person to give them what they don't have, and it's vice versa. If Bobby wants whoever the girl's name, Denise, I just mentioned her name. If Bob wants his girlfriend to give him what she doesn't have, she maybe have grown up with daddy issues all of her life. So she's carrying around baggage. So that book is a small, I think the book is like maybe 175 pages, but it's powerful enough to be a small book. Yeah.
So what is your third book that you've recently published?
I just wrote this one back in August. Is this one here, From the Fields to the Stage, and it's pretty much my autobiography.
Okay.
Talking about my life, where I'm from, where I've been, my journey in life, and actually what I've done also is put excerpts from my first book and that book we just finished talking about, Happiness book, in the back of this book also. So you're getting 3 for the price of 1. So this book pretty much talks about me being born in Virginia, which I'm originally from Virginia. Grew up there until I was 10, moved to New Jersey, playing in a band, playing baseball for a little while, gave up baseball to start playing music because I realized that the girls are really attracted to the boys in the band. So, and then of course my best friends up the street, they were musically inclined, which I wasn't. My goal was to be a dancer, but they had a guitar player, a drummer. They didn't have a bass player, so they taught me how to play the bass. That's how I became a bass player. Later on, high school music, traveling, doing things. Got addicted to drugs. I talk about that in my book also. Got addicted to cocaine and crack cocaine. And I'm, dealing with that and overcoming that, becoming an author, speaker, life coach, drug and alcohol addiction recovery coach. So it's been quite a journey. So all that's packed in 213 pages.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So being that you didn't aspire to be an author, when you first got the idea, I'm going to write a book, what steps did you take to start learning how to publish, and what was your publishing experience like? Was there any surprises?
Well, actually, I of course, and I tell a lot of people, one of the main things to do is Google is one of your best friends. Google and YouTube is one of your best friends. And that's what I did. I started Googling, started YouTubing. And of course, when I finished writing a bunch of, I had like 180 pages of stuff, didn't know what to do with it. So the publishing company that I went to, and I was frustrated. I was really frustrated because I didn't know what to do. So I paid for the editing services, and she said to me, Skip, have you ever baked a cake before? And I says, yes, I have baked a cake before. So she says, do me a favor right now, lay out all the ingredients of baking a cake. And I told her, the flour, the eggs, the flavor, the butter, and all that stuff. She says, your book is just like that. Bake the cake. And I went back to each page, each chapter, and laid it out and laid it out, and voila. And it was just that simple, actually. Because you have the ideas. It's pretty much, if you're writing, especially if you're writing a book about your life or things that you've done, all you have to do is start from the very beginning, from childhood, from far as you can remember, from childhood to move next step, adolescence, young adult, teenage, adult, until where you're at. Pretty much that's what it is. I mean, but of course the editing and all those other things, but one of the main things is just to get started. Because if a person has all these ideas in their head and not taking action on it, that's what it's going to be. You're going to constantly be there spinning your wheels, and not going anywhere. So the main thing is to take action and ask for help.
Did you have any plans, I'll say book signings, things scheduled before the pandemic, and how did you alter or pivot yourself during that time?
Well, for this last book here for the pandemic, actually what we did a book signing, a couple of book signings. I did two in Virginia, where I'm actually from. I did two down there. I think I did two here in New Jersey. But we had a men's conference scheduled for June. Actually, it was going to be on Father's Day in Trenton at the Trenton War Memorial Building. I had great speakers lined up, guys that from all walks of life, from football coaches to guys who were ex-drug dealers, guys who own businesses, who own their own businesses now, who are doing really, really well. But being that the pandemic came about, this COVID, we had to change plans. So we did a virtual conference, which went over well, but we're planning to do one again this year. We haven't set a date yet. We're just waiting on to see how things, how this COVID goes about, how people protect themselves and do the right things, so we can start to be more social out in public. And one of the main reasons I haven't set a date yet, because from my experience of, I talk about that in my book also, I've been producing hair and fashion shows for the last 30 years. Some of the top hair and fashion shows on the East Coast, the tri-state area. And from doing that and producing music, concert events. So putting together a conference is not really it's a big deal, but it won't be a challenge for us to do that. So that's why I haven't chose a date yet. So that's what we have planned right now coming up, the conference. But the book signing that we did have planned, and doing all the other things that we had planned for the summer of 2020 just passed, we had to do the virtual, what we're doing right now, and which I did start a Skip Bailey show in Princeton, from the Princeton Community Television show. We have that going, so I have that doing right now, and I talk about my book, a little bit about that during the show.
Awesome. Is there any upcoming events, or whether they be virtual or in person, that you're working on or that you have planned as of now?
Oh yes, actually February 1st. Actually, it's next Monday, the following Monday, February 1st, I'm doing a free masterclass. So I'm targeting is marketing to any people who are musicians, dancers, parents, entrepreneurs, no matter what type of business you're in. I'm going to talk about my 25 success principles from my audio book CD, which is entitled Be Unstoppable 25 Success Principles. Because the 25 success principles applies to almost any endeavor that you may embark in, whether you're an athlete, singer, dancer, entrepreneur, parent, whomever. Principles are principles. Principles of whether you're a doctor or a pastor. If you jump off a building, that doesn't mean you're not going to be hurt less if you're a pastor. If you jump off a building than a criminal, you can be hurt just the same. So all the principles apply the same. So February 1st, I'm doing a free masterclass. I'm going to be teaching, getting people on their path to becoming unstoppable, which they can go to skipbailey.com to register for the class. Skipbailey.com, which is only a 45-minute class, which will be leading to a 5-week training course the middle of February. But February 1st is the free masterclass. Go to skipbailey.com to register.
Awesome. My last question I have for you is a fun question. If you could co-author a book with any author, whether they be dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's a good question. Probably my mentor. And then I have a lot of books that I read, authors, even Oprah, all these other people. But my mentor, Joe Knight, he's retired now. He lives in North Carolina. He was the largest Black-owned beauty supply owner in the Philadelphia, Delaware, Jersey area. And one of the reasons why I said I mentioned him, because pretty much a lot of things that I've learned right from the last 20 years up to now, I've learned from him. And he's a no holds barred, non-sugarcoating person. And the reason why another reason I chose him, because we would tell it like it is. You know, if a person's it wouldn't be a book that you would read the book, it would be nice and easy and nice and, not hurting your feelings. If you want to know the truth, it's going to be a truthful book. So that's why I chose him.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, for watching. As always, to our guest, Skip Bailey, thank you. I greatly appreciate you. And to the audience, thank you once again for joining me on The Ready Writer. Hope you have a great day.